Most likely you heard about bullying in school, bullying at home, bullying at the workplace, like corporate bullying, but you rarely hear about organizational bullying. Organizational bullying is when a big organization, usually a multinational one, attacks a small business or a micro business, causes them damage, puts them under stress, and they cannot do much about it. I am a victim of such organizational bullying. My story is on another video on this same website. Please look it up. In this video, the idea is to explain to you what is organizational bullying, how it starts, what needs to be done. Organizational bullying usually is done by certain people inside an organization who take action based on a contract that you signed with that big organization. Now, those contracts are signed by a multitude of people, and they are written in a certain way that basically gives those multitude of people no rights at all. If you are a consumer, you have your rights under the consumer law. But if you are a business or a micro business, then you are supposed to know what's in those contracts. But if you're running your own business, you are the only person in this business, you will not be able to afford to put a lawyer on every contract you need to sign. And apparently, the fine print in those contracts gives so much power to those organizations. They are very tight, and anything you do, you are accountable for it. However, any mistakes they do, you cannot sue them in court, you cannot say anything against them, and you cannot claim any rights. And that's where the problem starts. If for some reason you talk to somebody in that organization and they don't like what they hear, if you demand a service that they don't want to supply, if you ask questions, that person who has enough power and enough influence in that organization can start bullying you just for the heck of it. For example, a bank, if they feel or they form the opinion that you cannot pay off your loan or your business loan, they can simply and easily stop your line of credit. So you cannot pay it, we're stopping it. They don't have to give you any reason, and they can do it immediately without any notice. If you have an online transaction facility to charge credit cards, they feel free to stop such a facility so you cannot charge your clients. A multinational organization might decide to stop supply. That person can put a bad name for you within the organization and decide, okay, we will cancel the contract for this small business and basically choke your cash flow and choke your supply. As such, you cannot provide your service to your customers, gives you bad name, and you will not be able to pay the debts on you. And when you can't pay debts on you, that puts you in a different category within that organization, and they start applying more penalties on you because the contract you signed gives them the right to do basically anything they want. Now, you might start with a problem with one department, and if your account status changes, or you cannot pay money because they choked your supply, then you have to deal with another department, accounts department. Then if you cannot pay, they probably have to deal with the collections department. And if you still cannot pay, and all the time they're adding charges and they're adding interest, they take legal action against you, and then you have to deal with the lawyers. There's only one of you or two in a business, and they have an army of personnel in every department, and you have to deal with 4 or 5 departments at a time. That's organizational bullying. You feel so small, you feel powerless, and sometimes losing hope. You think that you can take them to court, but you know their pockets are very deep, they have a lot of money, and they can drag any case day after day, month after month, year after year, until they suck your resources dry. And what can you do? Nothing can you do. You have to sell your assets, you have to keep fighting until you've got nothing left, and they know that. They know the case is losing for them, but they can drag it. They can drag it on and on and on until you give up the fight and you lose everything. Many things they can do, basically. They can hold your accounts, they hold the information, and other things they exercise is they put your name on a negative credit. They tell the other suppliers about your business, so they stop dealing with you, and they all of a sudden cancel their contracts as well. So you've got no supply whatsoever, and basically your business is dead. You can't do much about it. They decided to stop, and the contract you signed gives them the right to do anything they like. Such behavior are very hurtful, and they need to be stopped like any other bullying in school or at home, in workplace or anything. They need to be stopped. How can we stop them? Basically, using the social media, where people can exercise their power against those organizations and take business away from them in one form. In another form, because those contracts are signed by a multitude of people, and they're basically template contracts, I believe the government should step in and make sure each one of those contracts are fair and they protect the rights of the small player the same like the big organization. The government should make sure that those contracts are signed as if they are between 2 multinational organizations. So if one organization have the right to apply penalties against the other, then the other organization in reverse can apply such penalties as well. Currently, as it is, the big multinational organizations, they can apply penalties against you, they can charge you interest, they can stop their supply, and you have no discourse to anything. And you cannot apply the same to them, because the contract does not specify that. That has to be changed. If they can charge me, and if they do the right thing, then I should be able to charge them as well. That will keep a level playing field, and I think the government should be involved in that. As I said, I'm a victim of such a situation. You can look up my story under NAB, which is National Australia Bank, CompuSoft Organizational Bullying. And I would be delighted to hear from you and what you think. Thank you for listening.